Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Nicole Shepherd. I'm a psychodynamic life coach. I live in Brighton in the United Kingdom, and this is just a short introductory video to tell you a bit more about me, how I ended up in this position, and what you can expect from my channel, my services, how I can help you. So as I say, my name is Nicole, and I really started going on a transformational journey back in 2014. I was in a relationship at the time that wasn't really serving me. It was very destructive. I was very self-destructive, and I was out partying a lot. I was a real party girl. I was always following the music, following the crowd. I didn't really have a sense of self. I didn't know myself. I didn't know what my likes and dislikes were. I was very much caught up in trying to look good to other people, trying to please other people, and it was a really tiring existence. And on top of that, I was working in the city, this really high-powered job, delivering these huge contracts with both large corporations and government in IT. I was a project manager, and I was burning myself out in work because I was just worked to the bone, and out of work because I was always either traveling or partying. I wasn't really giving myself any time to switch off and relax. And all of that just left me as like a bit of a shell of a person. I didn't really know myself, didn't know what lit me up, didn't know what energized me. And I was really susceptible to the willpower of other people. So I'd say that anytime someone else said jump, I would just be like, how high? And I'd just go with it. So yeah, it was very influential by the people around me. And that led to me being in this relationship that was totally destructive. The person I was with, we was just partying all the time, taking substances. We didn't have any intimacy. We weren't planning our future. Anytime I tried to bring the future up and say, like, where are we going? It would be met with hostility and aggression. And it was around that time in 2014, I thought, I can't live the rest of my life like this. And I thought, if I can't find a way to end it, then I've got to find a way to live. And that in itself was just a massive turning point for me, because it was like, right, I know that I know that I can't end things. So I need to work out how I'm going to live a happy, fulfilled life. And yeah, it was a turning point. So I applied to the NHS. I was able to get onto their waiting list for psychotherapy. And that started in 2016. I did a year of psychotherapy, and it really helped me to put my head together, as in like give it some sort of chronological order and some space to reflect. And in that space, I was able to see that I was in quite a trauma bonded relationship. And I could see that if the other person didn't want to change, there wasn't really much that I could do to affect that change. They had to want it for themselves. And so I just had to make this really hard decision. This relationship that I built friendship groups around, that I had stability with in terms of like a home and people that we knew, and we had events planned and things. I just let it all crumble because I thought, there's got to be something else. There's got to be something better. Like the thought of being alone at that point was more nourishing and exciting than the thought of another, I don't even know how many years it would have been, like 50 years of that. So I made this really tough call, and I ended this relationship that I'd been in for 7 years by that point, 6 or 7 years. Yeah, it was a long time. And when that relationship crumbled, everything else crumbled too. I lost friendship groups, and I realized I couldn't be in the same job anymore because even the job itself was reenacting parts of my traumaed past. And it was through these revelations and the sort of peeling back, the removal of everything that didn't serve me, didn't serve my highest good, didn't make me feel healthy, didn't make me feel energized, that I started to really understand how much our mind and our mindset creates our own reality. Because as I started to heal my mind and my thought processes and the emotions that were linked to that, that started to heal the physical pain in my body. It started to heal relationships where I had poor boundaries, they just fell away. Relationships where I was giving too much of myself because I didn't feel worthy, they just fell away too. And it was almost like that shift in my frequency, that shift in my thought process and my internal vibration, like how I saw myself. When that shifted, everything in my external world had to shift too. And so I started to get more interested in that whole like how thoughts create reality, and I stumbled across The Secret, and I started looking into the law of attraction, and I was practicing yoga, and I was doing meditation more, and I looked inward. That link between the inner world and the outer world started to become really apparent, and I went on this amazing transformational journey. I started to meet with lost parts of myself who had been suspended in trauma. And as I integrated them back into my conscious awareness, I was able to then harness the power and the wisdom that they were holding for me, that they were holding on to, that they were trying to protect me from, the pain, the suffering, but also the boundaries, the self-worth, the self-esteem. It was all there waiting to be uncovered. It was just hidden under layers of, suffering and unconsciousness, the fact that my mind had put it away into a box, into a container, so that I couldn't access it until I was mentally ready. And that mental readiness came from me changing those external circumstances, letting certain people go, creating firmer boundaries with myself and with other people. I started to not need the addictive patterns of self-soothing as much. I didn't need to rely on being continuously busy to endlessly distract myself from myself. And I could start opening up space in my life to actually explore creativity and joy again. So I went on this personal transformational journey, and I picked up new friends, and I picked up a new relationship, and I started building my own family. I realized that London wasn't the place to be living anymore, that so much of London, the energy there is based around that stress, that ego identity, running away from trauma, endless distractions. It's a very frantic, high energy place, and it was lots of fun when that was what I needed. But right now it's like, no, I want a quieter space, quieter place, pace of life, space in life. I want more space in my life and a quieter pace of life. And that's why we decided, me and my partner, to move to the coast so that we could have a bit more of that like connection back with nature, a slower pace of life, different quality or different type of relationships here. And then I was like really disconnected from the work I was doing. And I went on that journey to become qualified as a psychodynamic life coach, which I just saw was so crucial because I'd worked with life coaches and had really bad experiences. And it wasn't until I started to work with the emotional body and the mental body together that I really started to see some drastic transformation, like inner transformation, because we are like an energetic body. We have this astral body that we're connected to, that manages our creative flow and our emotions. And if that astral body is being continuously impacted by the mental body, by the faulty perceptions that were generated from our childhood, then that energy is just getting siphoned off into the past time and time and time again. And so it's really hard to create a present and a future that we want when all of that creative energy is getting sucked into past traumas, past triggers, the somatic experiences within the body of re-remembering those past pains. And so I was really passionate that when I work with people, when I coach people, when I help people to create life that they're connected to, that they feel passionate about and that brings them joy, that the only way I was going to be able to do that effectively is if I could help them change the emotional imprint and the mental perceptions. And I don't know if other coaching modalities, certainly wasn't my experience when I was looking for a coach. It wasn't my experience that I was able to get that same level of transformation just working at the intellectual level, just working at, say, like what my conscious mind was thinking and saying at the time. Like it could say I wanted something, but then there might be some unconscious and subconscious trauma or pain that was blocking that thing from manifesting for me. And so I really saw that I needed to gift this on to other people, that there was just this gap in coaching, because psychotherapy is all about looking at the past. but there can only be so much past analysis that can be done before it starts becoming unhelpful. At some point, we need to look forward and say, okay, that's been dealt with. I understand why that's happened now, but I want to create a future that I enjoy and that I feel passionate about and that brings me meaning and fulfillment and purpose. And even though we're looking forward, those wounds from the past can still get activated. So we need a way to deal with the past as we design our future, because everything in the present moment is just that culmination of all those past memories and all those past thoughts. So if we want to change what's happening to us today, there will be some need to go into those past dynamics and correct them to the future that we want, but without needing to get into the story and without needing to re-traumatize ourselves, without, needing to go into sort of like, I call them CPTSD flashbacks, like a flashback of the past that then means you need to self-soothe and do self-destructive behaviors like eating too much or binge watching television or going on a shopping spree or going on a night out with friends and getting absolutely hammered rather than building your business or, working internally on your own emotions that link to whatever was activated in you. And so I'm so passionate about this. And I really do believe that if we can help change the mindset and that programming in us today, then we build a better generation for the next group of young people that are coming through, and then their children won't be as traumatized, and it will just filter down into the generations to connect more with the self and to experience life more at that soul level and eventually connect back to spirit and feel that unconditional love and joy that just comes from being connected to source again. Because that's the thing, we've just fallen in consciousness and we've just forgotten who and what we really are. And all it takes is the unraveling of that unconscious, repetitive conditioning to create a life of joy. And so that's what this channel is really going to be about, is like, how do you connect back to that inner joy? And how do you find your purpose? And how do you find meaning in your life so that you can live energized and happy and free and not needing to judge other people or live in fear of the consequences? And yeah, if that's your bag, then stick around, because I'd love to have you here, and I'm really excited to get to know you better. And drop any questions in the comment box below and let me know about you. When was your turning point when you realized there was more to life and that you wanted to explore the deeper meanings and open up a Pandora's box of joy and love